Hello once again, race fans. Welcome back to another episode of the NASCAR Show on The Grueling Truth, where legends speak. I'm Alex Gray, along here with Steve Risley, and we also have Michael Klein back here with us this week. Well, I think we have a lot to talk about this weekend at Martinsville, from the truck race, Gillen's first win, the Fox Sports 1 issue, and, of course, the intense cup race that we had, how tempers flared pretty much towards the end of the race, and just a lot to take in. If we want to tackle the cup race first, Martin Truex Jr., a dominant performance by him, winning the race and locking himself into Homestead. He will be one of the 4 drivers that will run for a championship. Once again, Truex looking for his second title. Hamlin and Logano got into a little beating and banging on the track, which ended up with fists being thrown at the end of the race. And I tell you what, Logano and Hamlin, I think they really put on a show for the fans, I think, and especially with Hamlin, because it just feels like you rarely hear him so mad. So I wanted your all's thoughts on Hamlin and Logano real quick.
My thoughts are there's nothing like watching 2 5'4", 150-pound millionaires bitch slapping each other at the end of a race. That's my thoughts.
I knew you'd say that.
That's basically what I think it is. I think, it's rubbing is racing on a short track. I mean, you're going to get into it. I'm actually watching the video right now of the contact between the two, and it's not that bad. I mean, it's just rubbing on a short track. But they get out and they seem to be getting along fine with it. And then Logano pushes Hamlin, and Hamlin decides he's going to take that offensively. And there you go. And so we get a show.
Mm-hmm. All right, Michael, what did you think?
Oh, my goodness. My family was dying as soon as Hamlin gave his impression on Joey Logano.
I lost it. That was hilarious.
Yeah, short track race end. Yeah, and it's really funny, too, because, my whole family are Logano fans. Well, except for my brother. Yeah, and my mom really doesn't like Hamlin, and she was dying laughing at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, I think we all remember that this isn't the first time they've been at it with each other. I think we all remember that deal at Bristol and Fontana a few years ago.
Oh, yeah. I remember especially Fontana 2013 when those two pretty much beating the crap out of each other, and that's what ended up injuring Hamlin in that race. He got sidelined for quite a few races.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, though. I think Hamlin probably gained back all the fans he had lost a couple of years ago with that whole Chase Elliott deal.
Oh, yeah. People were cheering for him. It was amazing. Because that made me think, because like 2 years ago, he dunked Elliott in that race, and people hated him. And now 2 years later, people love the guy. And, of course, Hamlin looks like to be a driver that's going to get into the championship 4. Obviously, I'd say he's a favorite along with Truex. I think those two are the cars to beat in this race. Looking at stuff like that I think is good for NASCAR because it just shows the character in some of these drivers. It's okay to let loose, just don't go too far. So William Byron.
No, I'm glad NASCAR lets him do it again. I mean, there was a point in time where NASCAR got so Jimmy Johnson that they got so politically correct that when he was winning 7 championships, he was Mr. Nice Guy all the time, and there was this whole clean thing about it, and they're like, you can't fight, you can't touch, you can't, have at it, boys. Rubbing is racing. Let them go after it. Let them. That's what you do. That's why you have fenders on these cars. These are not F1 cars or Indy cars. They have fenders on them. So you can bang and rub a little bit and knock each other around a little bit, and that's all part of it, especially at a place like Martinsville, which is the paperclip, which is a short track anyway. It's, 3/4 of a mile, I think it is, isn't it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Martinsville, no, it's like half a mile, not even that.
Mhm. Yeah, you're right. I think it is more like half a mile.
Okay. But you got 38 cars on this track, all of them running at 120 to 140 miles an hour around this track. You're going to get that crap, and it's going to happen. But it was good theater for the end of the race because it's always fun to watch. So nothing's going to be better than 1979 with the Yarboroughs.
Yeah, the fall Martinsville race always, to me, puts on a show. Other results here, William Byron finishing second, an incredible run for him. Keselowski third, Hamlin fourth, Ryan Blaney fifth. Rounding out the top 10, you got Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Ryan Newman. David Reagan finishing 11th, Chris Buescher 12th, Darrell Walsh Jr. 13th. Good run for those guys. Matt Crafton, who filled in for Matt Tiff, we'll talk about him shortly, finished 25th. Chase Elliott finishing 36th, because I know he had some problems early on in the race. Jimmy Johnson finishing last. He was involved in that Amarola Kyle Busch wreck. That wasn't really his fault. I think Johnson at this point is just having the worst luck of anyone lately.
It's going to be interesting to see what comes from that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Amarola said he's going to make it hell for Busch.
Yeah, Amarola, and I think it takes a lot to make Amarola mad, because I remember when, we all remember the 2018 Daytona 500 when, Dillon came up and, I don't know if it's dumped because Amarola was applying that block, but, Amarola seemed very calm about it. It's just like, it's a darn shame. Here, he's just like, next 3 races, I'm going to make it hell for him. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between what happened here and what happened at Daytona is what happened at Daytona, if you ask me, was just a racing deal. And, yeah, you could say maybe Amarola shouldn't have thrown the block. Dillon should have backed off. But last lap at Daytona, you're not going to do that. You're going for it in a minute. But, here at Martinsville, Kyle Busch admit he chopped him off in retaliation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would be upset about that.
Oh, certainly. Let's see here. So, talking about Matt Tifft. So, what happened was that he suffered a seizure during the weekend, and he got sent to a hospital and was sent home. Matt Crafton, truck driver, ended up subbing in for him in the 36 car. It has now been said that Tifft will not run the rest of 2019. He's going to sit out, heal up, and John Hunter Nemechek is actually going to make his first Cup starts in the 36 car for Front Row Motorsports. 3 days ago, Matt Tifft tweeted, "Hey, everybody, just wanted to give a quick update. Still learning more of what exactly happened. But as some of you saw and heard, I had to be taken to the hospital this morning. I am resting at home now and have follow-up soon. Can't wait to get back to full health and back in the car soon." He also did post a video yesterday. I still need to watch it. It's a pinned tweet. It's on his Twitter. Of course, Matt Tifft also, I believe, had a brain tumor removed about a couple years ago. And from what I've heard, that has, I think Bob Pocker said yesterday that I think that has nothing to do with it, which we're hoping that, Tifft is all right and he'll be able to get back into a car soon. I'm going to have to find that tweet. Yeah, we're all just hoping that Matt Tifft is all right and that he'll be back in the car. There has been another report that there could be some issues going into 2020. Here it is. Tifft says scans show nothing as far as the brain tumor he had a few years ago. So I believe it also, I think Adam Stern posted about this as well this morning involving this situation. Matt Tiff's medical issue could complicate Front Row Motorsports plans for 2020, as a seizure can keep a person from driving for about 6 months, and the next season is only 4 months away. John Hunter Nemechek and Daniel Hemrick were already candidates to replace David Reagan's 38 seat. And actually, John Hunter Nemechek replied, "I was on it," which I thought was kind of comical. So silly season has kind of shaken up on, Front Row Motorsports side of things. It seems like right now we don't know who's driving for the next season. So, yeah, Matt Tipp looks like he's healing up, and we're hoping that he gets a speedy recovery and he'll be back in a race car soon.
Yeah, just from personal experience, last year, toward the beginning of the racing season, I actually suffered a seizure before the race season started. And, yeah, that did kind of sideline me for a little while. And as long as Tibbs goes through, what his doctor tells him to, that's just going to expedite the process so much. Because for me, it was like 2 weeks. I wasn't able to drive after that.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully they get this sorted out. But I'm sure with him, it's a little bit more intricate, just considering his past. So, again, like I said, I just hope that he's able to get back as soon as he can. And it certainly sucks knowing that happened, considering, I've been through it myself.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't really talk about that too often, so.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
All right, so here's some other news that broke out this morning. Oscar Mayer has signed on a 2-year extension with Ryan Newman and Roush Fenway Racing, and to celebrate, you can design the next number 6 car. Check Oscar Mayer's Twitter, and stay tuned for details on how you can get your car designed on the track. They actually have a link with a template. You can actually design the next, the wiener car for Ryan Newman. So I'm actually kind of tempted to try it. If you guys, I'm going to retweet it here. My Twitter, AlexGray83.
Actually, the wiener mobile looks pretty aerodynamic.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it'll cut through the wind good. I don't know if it'll pass the templates or not, but give it a try.
Well, yeah. And, not to mention, Ryan Newman has done an incredible job in that 6 car this year. We've got playoffs, really a huge improvement for Roush Fenway Racing this year. So that's a good sign that the sponsors want to come back on the 6 car especially. So that's a good deal for Newman.
Yeah, well, and, obviously you all know I'm a 9-car fan, so what's going on with the 9-car? I mean, 2 of the last 4 races now, they blow an engine up, they blow another engine up, then they break an axle. I mean, this is Hendrick Motorsports. What the heck is going on with that team? I mean, this is a guy who should be in contention to win this championship. And, he's now 44 points out of the hunt, and basically has to win one of the next 2 races to move forward. I mean, he's so many points down now, I don't know if it's make-upable.
Yeah.
Any ideas? I mean, Hendrick, are they just kind of sliding down the scale a little bit here as a team? I know Byron finished second. I get that. But they don't seem very competitive.
And it's really hard to say. If you're Rick Hendrick, you're probably looking at the shop, and you're just looking at them, guys, what's going on here? Michael, do you have any insights on that at all or thoughts?
I really don't.
Michael?
I mean, yeah, it may just be bad luck. I mean, like I said, I don't know what goes on in the Hendrick shops, so I can't really tell, what's going on, and maybe that the playoff pressure is getting to them. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that could be going on that's contributing to this.
Yeah, that we don't know, obviously.
Yeah, but he qualifies second, but then he blows an engine up and has to move to the back of the pack. Then early in the race, he breaks an axle. I don't know. I think they should have these cars a little better prepared.
I also makes me wonder if they're looking for performance over reliability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, they want that 9 car to compete the best that it can. So even if it means taking those risks to perhaps the car breaking, they will do what it takes in order for the car to perform at its best. Obviously, Elliott has 2 more races. He's probably in a must-win, though. So unless some crazy stuff happens, or, Elliott could indeed sneak out a win still.
Just a quote. Just a quote from Days of Thunder. First thing you got to do to win a race, you got to finish a race.
You got to finish the race.
That's something they would look at.
Okay, Cole Trickle.
That's the first time anybody has called me that, and I feel so honored right now.
Heck yeah.
So I hope you're as good looking as Tom Cruise is.
Yeah. Well, my teammate is, apparently. Apparently, people have actually told him he looks like Tom Cruise. So
there you go.
Yeah,
go look up Ryan Shilkowski.
Pardon?
Everyone watching this, go look up Ryan Shilkowski. Tell me, does he look like Tom Cruise?
There you go. All right. Anything else about Martinsville that we need to talk about?
Yeah, let's dive into the other race that took place, the Gander Outdoor Truck Series. Todd Gilliland finally getting his first career truck win, a much-needed win for him. Although there was a little bit of controversy that actually didn't involve any of the drivers. This involved the media aspect of things. So basically, the final restart was about to take place. They were about to drop the green flag. And Fox Sports 1 had some technical difficulties. So they ended up cutting the video feed, and you just heard audio as if you heard it through a radio. And pretty much you just heard the end of the race. And then they finally cut back to Todd Gilliland burning out, and then they just pretty much said, Todd Gilliland wins, we're now taking you to college football. And then it switched over to, I forgot what game it was. So a lot of people were not too thrilled with Fox about it. A lot of people voicing their opinions and the infamous power of social media these days. I mean, it is definitely looks like more of a Fox issue. I don't really have nothing intelligent to say on the matter, but if you all had any thoughts on it, Michael especially, because I think you've talked about it a little bit on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, I've seriously grown just tired of Fox. Motorsports on the back burner, just because for them it doesn't seem like it's bringing them money. So at this point, they don't even seem to really care about it. David Land made a video on that. Actually, you can go watch it. This Week in Racing, David Land talks all about it. Basically, and I completely agree with him on this, is that NASCAR. I mean, Fox started covering NASCAR back in 2001 when NASCAR was going through its major growth spurt. They knew that was a good place to market themselves. And so they started covering them, and it went well. But, it doesn't have anything to do with them liking the sport. It's just them trying to get money out of it. And then as NASCAR started to decline in popularity, they've always been putting it on the back burner, it seems like. I mean, and look at how they handled this. They didn't offer a single explanation or apology for it. They had the college football guy say, "Oh, we're sorry for the technical difficulties," and that's it.
Yeah.
I get it. Things happen. But when they happen, you have to take responsibility for it, and that's what Fox didn't do. Now you look at NBC, and it honestly seems like they want to be in NASCAR because they love the sport. I mean, they seem much more heavily invested in it than Fox ever was. Well, at least I can't say that now. I guess Fox was heavily invested early on, but now they're kind of starting to drift away from that.
Yeah.
So, I know I got strong opinions. You can disagree with me, but, that's just the way I see it.
Yeah, and I definitely think you make some points there. It does feel like that, they've begun to put motorsports on the back burner. I mean, remember at the beginning of the year, ESPN completely dropped anything NASCAR-related. Jayski.com pretty much went away for a bit until it came back recently. And, of course, with Fox, it does. I don't think they handled that really well because it's just like, they're like, oh, Todd Gilliland won, we're now switching to college football. Like, I understand college football's huge. It makes you a lot of money, but come on, at least, explain what happened. At least come out and say, hey, guys, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. And I don't remember. I think the next day they actually replayed it, the race with the actual finish and the post-race interviews. But what was funny was people began to make memes. So literally they took moments like the finish of the 2007 Daytona 500, and right as they were about to get to the line, they put the technical difficulties thing on. So I'm just like, oh. So, I mean, that's the internet for you. That's the power of meme magic right there.
And also, just to throw this out there, this is something that really kind of pissed me off, is that usually they bring Victory Lane over to FS2 after the race, and that's where they had the college football game going. But when it ended and they moved it over to FS1, they didn't move it away from FS2. So you had the same college football game on two channels and no racing.
Yeah, that's poorly managed right there. That you should have. Yeah. I mean,
that's a kick below the belt.
Yeah, at least say, hey, if you want to catch the post-race interviews, go here. But no, it's just like college football. So, I mean, I just think Fox didn't handle that well. I agree with a lot of the aspects you're saying here. So, besides that, I think we've pretty much covered everything Martinsville related. If we want to move on to other topics.
Wait a minute. We haven't discussed one thing yet, and that's Todd Gilliland's post-race radio communication.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. I knew I was forgetting something. Okay, so, Todd Gilliland, who drives for Kyle Busch in the Truck Series, when he won the race, obviously in the heat of the moment, he's so pumped. At one point, he said, Kyle Busch could stay in his effing motorhome. Obviously, you know what I mean by that, but yeah.
Oh, man, yeah. Me and John were watching the radio after that, and, I didn't think much of it. I just thought, man, it's going to be good to hear him so pumped up. And then we hear that, and our mouths just drop.
Yeah, I would.
We're like, oh, my God, did he actually say that?
I mean, heck, if I was Kyle Busch, I'd get a chuckle out of it. I don't know if he did, but I mean,
I doubt it. Some reporter asked him about that after the Cup race. He was like, do you have any comment on the post race? And he was like, nope.
Yeah, he said nope. So that's a lot of his, because I did watch that interview, and a lot of it was just nope.
Usual one answer Kyle Busch answers.
Yep.
Yeah, but I will say this, though, just for the people who, are calling him out on that, Kyle Busch has criticized him so much this year, and what I don't think he gets is that some drivers, they take time to learn, and obviously, Todd Gilliland's performance hasn't been where it needs to be. I don't know if that's all his doing, because I know he has got a ton of talent. And also, when you think of it this way, there's a few races that he should have won that he didn't. So, after dealing with that and then finally getting your win, I'm sorry, if Kyle Busch is going to dish it out, he can take it too. So, especially when you're not going to be in that truck again next year and you have nothing else to lose.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we don't really know where Gilliland's going to be, and Harrison Burton moving up to the Xfinity Series, who was also in contention to win that race when he was spun on the last lap, I think. I mean, it's a tough race.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I didn't watch the finish.
No one did. We didn't know. I mean, I remember just hearing, Harrison Burton got turned, but I do think NASCAR actually did have the actual finish posted. Like, they had another camera or another feed that was able to get it, and so I know NASCAR actually did post that, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Steve, you still there?
Yep, I'm listening.
Okay.
I didn't watch the truck race, so I was too busy keeping the roof of our house wet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Obviously, you live over in California. Obviously, there's a lot of issues with the wildfires. Hoping that you and everyone over there is all right, and you guys will be all right over there.
We're praying for you, man.
the Reagan Library is getting ready to burn down. So, although I'm sure it's protected. So, anyway, but no, I didn't see the end of the truck. I didn't watch the truck race. I was outside doing work on keeping things wet.
Right.
As best we could.
Yeah, because obviously it's pretty dry over there.
Yeah. Yeah, we had fires 5 miles north of us, and now my wife just drove into the middle of one in Thousand Oaks. She works at a assisted living facility there as a marketing director, and they're looking like they're going to have to evacuate the place out. So, but anyway, let's get back to racing.
All right. So, the next stop, we go to the Lone Star State, Texas, the Texas Motor Speedway. 3 races remain. 2 races remain in the round of 8. A 1.5 mile track. The final, well, I don't know if it's a final 1.5 miles because you got Homestead. It's just a different configuration. So, yeah, what are we looking forward to going into Texas? Some early favorites. What can we expect here?
Well, I mean, I think you got to stay with Martin Truex Jr. I mean, he's got a dominant car right now. They've got it down. Logano is strong. There's going to be desperate guys, like I said. You know, Harvick's below the cutoff line. Elliott's below the cutoff line. You got guys who are going to try and they're going to bust their kahunas to win this race, and I think it's going to be a great race. This is where the theater gets really good now. This is where it's like it's you got to win now. Now you got to win. If you're not in the top position, if you're not Truex, you got to win. Basically, because nobody's that far ahead enough that they're protected, other than Truex. Correct?
Yeah, Truex to me is the car to beat. By the way, I don't know if y'all know this, but I just pulled up this interesting article that was posted yesterday. If you don't know, the Formula One U.S. Grand Prix, which is in Austin, Texas, is on the same day as the Cup race, and it's going head-to-head. The track president, Eddie Gossage of Texas Motor Speedway, not too happy that they are competing head-to-head. He says that F1 officials are simply disrespecting racing fans this weekend by staging the U.S. Grand Prix the same day as the Cup race. He says, quote, there's very little competition between NASCAR and Formula One. There is some, and I think it's an absolute insult, lack of respect, lack of professionalism, and on the part of Formula One to schedule a race on the very same day, 3 hours away from a NASCAR Cup race. I can kind of see his argument there because NASCAR, believe it or not, is still the most popular motorsport in America, judging by the ratings. I think it's certainly more popular than Formula One. And, I mean, I can understand the frustrations. You think, Formula One could do it on a Saturday or separate weekend, but instead they wanted to compete head-to-head with NASCAR. And it could be a strategic move, too, by Formula One to try and compete with NASCAR as well.
I have 2 comments on this. One is, first off, that's why I have a DVR.
Yeah.
I'll tape one race and watch the other. Then I'll watch the other race after I watch the first race. And then I won't have to watch the NFL. And so there's number one. Number 2 is you have to realize F1 is probably more marketed to Europe than it is here. So I don't know what the time difference is between showing it here and what time it's going to come on in Europe, but I know Europe cares more about F1 than they care about NASCAR. Mm-hmm. So that may be the reason that this all happened this way. I don't know, but I that's much ado about nothing as far as I'm concerned, because I'll just DVR the F1 race, because the only good part about the F1 race is the start. Then usually Lewis Hamilton gets out front and it's a parade.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened. So that's what happened last week. I watched it. It came on at 5 in the morning or something like that, and I got up to watch it, and it's like, okay, Hamilton starts third by the 5th lap, 7th lap, he changes tires, and he's in first place, and it never changes again since then. So he got by the Ferraris, and that's the way you go. But NASCAR is just a much more fun sport to watch because there's so many lead changes, there's so much stuff going on in an F1 race.
Mm-hmm.
Or, in a NASCAR race, I apologize. NASCAR race. So I wouldn't sweat that one too much.
Yeah.
Tape it and stay off of Twitter. There's the two things you got to do. And that's the mistake I make. You know what? I'm watching a race, and then I get on Twitter, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, shoot, I just found out who won the race. I didn't want to know who won the race. So I've learned just to put my phone in my drawer while I'm watching a race because I generally tape all the races and don't watch them live. I'm trying to watch some NFL Red Zone and see how the Colts are doing. And then it's like, dadgummit. Now I know who won. Now it's not that big a deal to me anymore. So then you just fast forward to the last 5 laps. And go from there. So I wouldn't sweat that one too much.
Yeah, for me, I watch the races live, and when I have to leave for work in the evening and I miss the last few laps, I either watch it on the NBC Sports app or I just get on Twitter and be like, okay, who won? So
yeah.
And Okay, yeah. I just pulled up something here from Toby Christie. Bob Levine says the team is not expanding, Levine Family Racing, saying they're not expanding until they know more about the next-gen car. Okay. So,
that makes sense. Why would you invest a lot of money into it when you don't have a lot of money to invest into it?
Right.
Just just sit back on it and stay where you are, and then just do it in a couple of years when you know what you got to invest into the new cars. That makes perfect sense to me.
Oh my goodness, here we go. Okay, you talked about the Richard Petty Motorsports tweet about the Flintstones car. The 43 crew dressed in all the Flintstone characters rolling in with the actual Flintstones car. They posted a video on it on Twitter. This is really comical.
It's all marketing.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we looking at in Texas? What do we see coming up in Texas?
Like I said, I think Truex and Hamlin are the two to beat. I think those are two early favorites I would look into for this race. Yeah, pretty much Truex, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, really, even though he's been on the colder side of things. Harvick won this race a couple years ago. Ryan Blaney seems to be kind of on fire lately. I wouldn't rule him out either. Yeah, I would say a toss-up between the 3 Gibbs guys, Harvick and Blaney, to me would be some guys to look forward to win this race.
But then you've got your desperados.
Mm-hmm.
You got you guys that are in the bottom 4 right now that need a win.
Yep.
And I kind of consider Texas to be kind of a short super speedway. Am I wrong there, or am I right?
Yeah.
Never really thought about it that way. So.
Well, they run close to 200 miles an hour on that track, don't they?
Yeah, they post about 200 there.
Yeah, which to me that's a super speedway, and it's a high bank, short track, 1.5 miles, and the Hendrick cars generally will run well on those kinds of tracks if they can keep them all together. So you've got Byron, who almost won, Elliott, who needs to win. The 88 car has been strong most of the season. So, I mean, it's a wide-open race. And then Harvick seems to always perform well in Texas, as far as I can remember. And I know Harvick owns Phoenix. I mean, has he ever lost at Phoenix? Yes, he has. I know he has, but.
Yeah, I would say Phoenix is definitely one of Harvick's more successful tracks.
Yeah, but honestly, I come think about it, when was the last time he won there? It's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while, definitely. I think...
If I can remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think his last win came in 2016 against Carl Edwards.
Yes, that photo finished in the spring of 2016. You're correct. So, yeah, it's been a while. Elliott runs well at Phoenix as well. He's had moments where he's about to shine and then something slips up, because we've seen, 2017, he tried to make the move on Hamlin and backfired, and then, of course, last year getting involved in that wreck. Yes, focusing on Texas. Harvick actually, I believe, won this race the year before, and I think last year as well, if I'm correct. And Hamlin won.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And Hamlin won this race back in the spring. And, of course, Truex won in 2017 when he dominated every mile-and-a-half track. So if I were to condense it, Harvick, Hamlin, Truex. I think those are your big three to look at for Texas.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that.
So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting race, certainly, because now we're really starting to, crack down to the final three races of the season. It's it's going to be a race to look forward to, especially how the ratings and attendances too will be, because the F1 race will be during the same day as the Cup race, just 3 hours away. Anything else that we missed that we need to cover at all?
I have nothing.
I feel like I've flown through everything here. Let's see. What about you, Michael?
I don't really have anything else. All I have to say is Hinchtown will rise from this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he didn't hear? Hinchcliffe got dumped by McLaren. He will rise. And I thought NASCAR, just got to throw that out there.
Oh, yeah, the whole thing with McLaren. Oh, yeah. There was one more thing. So I don't know if this is actually going to happen. Oh, my God, Jeffrey Earnhardt actually commented on this. There, about 5 days ago, a website and social media popped up called The Money Team Racing. And apparently it's this new NASCAR team that's being started up by Floyd Mayweather, the infamous boxer. But the website also went down and said more info is coming soon. Before the show, Michael believed it was fake news. I really don't know what to think of it. Jeffrey Earnhardt actually commented saying, "Where do I sign up? I vote line the list of potential drivers up and put them in a ring. Best man gets the ride. Would be a badass to drive for the GOAT of boxing, Floyd Mayweather." Which, by the way, if you don't know, Jeffrey Earnhardt has actually done MMA before at one point. So, I mean, there has been a history of iconic sports figures who have tried or have ran NASCAR teams. There's actually a former basketball player right now, Brad Daugherty, that runs JTG Daugherty Racing. A lot of famous sports figures in the past have owned teams. Brett Favre, Terry Bradshaw, I think Mark McGuire in 1998 with the Busch team with Bobby Hillin that I learned. Jerry Jones almost started a NASCAR team at one point. There's a huge
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino. Yep, Dan Marino. Oh, goodness. Trying to think who else here. I mentioned Jerry Jones.
He didn't start a team, I don't think, but Jerry Glanville did drive for a little bit.
Yeah, Jerry
the Atlanta
Glanville.
Falcons head coach, I think.
Yes.
I think the Falcons head coach. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because he drove an Atlanta Falcons car at one point.
Yeah, and just throwing this out there, Joe Gibbs is a Super Bowl winning coach, too.
Yep, Joe Gibbs. That's probably the most successful one of them all. That's embarrassing. I can't believe I didn't think about that. But yeah, Joe Gibbs, obviously.
I didn't think of it either.
Yeah.
Until right then.
Yeah. So, okay, I just clicked on the Money Team Racing, and their website is up again, actually. It says here that they're going to drive a number 50 Chevrolet and that they're going to run at Homestead. We'll see what happens with this. If this is true that Floyd Mayweather is actually going to start a NASCAR team, that would, I mean, if it somehow goes well, he could possibly bring in some big sponsors into the sport. Hard to say. I mean, it would be interesting, to say the least.
Just another good way for millionaire athletes to piss their money away. It's really all it is. I mean, Joe Gibbs was incredibly successful, but really all the other ones that try to get into it are out of it again. Racing is an expensive sport, Michael. You know that better than anybody. And it just, okay, whatever. Bring a team in. You'll last about 5 races, and then you'll realize you're losing millions of dollars on what's going on.
Especially when you buy a charter.
There you go.
All right. I think if we want to go ahead and make our final picks, I think that about does it.
Did we lose Michael?
For me, I'd kind of want to go with Harvick.
Harvick?
Yeah, just because this kind of seems to be his track. At least it has the past couple years. And honestly, I just want to see him make the Final Four again. I don't know what it is, but I always like seeing him in the Final Four.
Oh, yeah. Steve?
I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with Harvick. I think it's a track that he can win on.
Oh, certainly. I'm going to go with someone a little bit different since you guys had Harvick. I'm going to go with Hamlin. I think that's equally a huge favorite alongside with Harvick. Won the spring race. Hamlin, I think, is one of those guys to beat. If you're not looking, of course, Truex, don't count him out either. But I'm going to go with Hamlin.
There you go.
All righty. And I think that'll about do it for this week's episode of the NASCAR Show on the Grueling Truth where Legends Speak. Michael, thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. From Michael Klein, Steve Risley, and myself, Alex Gray, we're signing off. We'll see you next week.